You ever been out with a so-called friend or hating family member, and he or she swears you're broke just because you didn't volunteer to pay for their bottle service per usual? And then they have the nerve to get tight about it? Yeah. Today we're talking about the art of balling responsibly and why being smart with money somehow makes people think you're on the verge of a money meltdown. Welcome to Simple Complexities. I'm your host, Alley Cat, and I want you to help me unpack why being low-key financially stable makes people feel uncomfortable. When some of us choose to live within our means, and maybe sometimes even below our means, when we do that, we get roasted for it. So, why do you think some of us get roasted for living within our means? Comment below with your take. I honestly think because in our culture, if you're not dripping in Fendi, flossing on social media, and popping bottles with fireworks, people assume you're broke. But what if, and hear me out, what if you're just being smart with your money? Like, what if you're just being smart with your money? I was reading this thread and I saw a post about a 31-year-old woman who makes six figures. She just bought a house and is doing extremely well for herself. In the post, she says, I live under my means. I think it's incredibly important. Matter of fact, it's a habit I learned from my parents to secure the lifestyle I want and will have. My parents, at their best, brought home a little over $40,000 a year combined. Wow, that's low. I learned from my parents very early on because they knew their limitations with money and finances. I believe in saving, and I don't play around about that. My friends crack on me all the time because I don't want to go out with them every weekend. I'm tired of hearing their slick comments of them telling me I shouldn't have bought my house if I wasn't going to have any money. First of all, that's trifling. And I want to know, side note, I want to know, do they have their own house? Anyway, so she goes on and she says, so what if my base pay is six figures? They don't need to know that. It, exactly. They don't need to be counting your coins. She said, I meal prep faithfully. I use my budget spreadsheet to keep me on track. And I'm still driving around in the car I was gifted when I graduated from college. Can we say never had a car payment? Listen, honey. First of all, let's unpack this here. There is nothing wrong, with you living under your means, as you said. You have a house, you're making six figures, and your friends don't need to know how much you make. They do not need to know how much you make. That's none of their business. And it's okay if you don't want to go out with them, every weekend. As long as you're comfortable in your home, you're taking care of your bills, you're not asking anybody for anything, and you're working hard just like your parents did, you do what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for this. My grandparents spoiled me. However, they taught me how to work and the value of having and saving a dollar. And most importantly, being humble. Look, I'm 38 and, I live with my husband. We have our own house. And listen, when you said you never had a car payment, I've only had two cars in my life. The first car, that was gifted to me by my grandparents when I was a freshman in college. And I rode that Honda until I couldn't anymore. After that, I bought my own car and paid it off about 4 years ago. And I'm thankful because not only do I not have a car payment, but my husband keeps the maintenance up for me. He's a certified mechanic and inspector. And why would I need to buy another car or pay for maintenance when he could do that for me? And I could save that money for something else. So, baby girl, you do exactly what you have to do and what you want to do. Don't let your friends punk you. Like I said, do they have a house of their own? If they don't, they need to shut up. Okay? She goes on in the post, she says, we live in a culture that romanticizes spending but side eyes saving, especially in the Black community where success is so hard earned. People sometimes feel like you owe it to struggle to show off. I so agree with this. And I don't understand why, people feel like they have to show off and struggle at the same time. It makes me think of something I saw called financial expectations trauma, which pretty much means the pressure to prove your worth with purchases. Y'all, we have to wake up. We don't have to prove anything because to me, having financial peace is really the new flex. Nobody's trying to be house poor anymore. Nobody, wants to have all of these clothes and, expensive jewelry and stuff, but then you don't have a pot to piss in. Like, who does that? It's okay, to live within your means and to save money and, you know, not, just not going broke just to compete with other people or prove that you have like, all the money in the world when you really don't. How are you keeping food on the table? Like, how are you paying all of your bills if, you're going and shopping, for the latest and, gambling or, just balling and going out to different parties? Like, no, we don't need to do that. Not in this day and age, you guys. Moral of the story is living below your means looks different for everyone. It isn't a sign of struggle. It's a strategy. You know, would you agree? Like, what do you guys think? And while you're at it, follow me at Lady A Real One. And also follow the network at CWFP_. Oh, and the next time someone side eyes your budget friendly lifestyle, just smile and say, it's called generational wealth, sweetheart. Look it up. All right, loves. Thanks for listening. These are just some of the simple but yet complex things that I saw on the net. What are some of your simple complexities? I'll let you think about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with that one cousin who thinks having a Roth IRA means you're boring. Until next time, love, stay bougie, stay budgeted, baby.